on, people? How's everybody? Listen, first and foremost, it's been a while, so I definitely apologize for that. Trying to get some audio stuff taken care of as well, so we're tweaking. I know there's probably like a really bad echo, so trying to uh, find out where that is, and I think I may have just found it. I don't know. We'll see.
I think that's
Give me
it.
a second. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in, catching up with us. Today uh we got my man Adam Coleman. I I have a tendency to call him something else, but we got Adam Coleman on today.
Hey, either or, man. You know what it is.
Uh and we're gonna get him on, so y'all hold tight. He's got a lot going on. So I said, look, let's get this brother on. Hey man, what's going on, man?
Hey, doing good, man. What's happening with you?
Hey, ain't nothing much, man. Still trying to fix this echo for one, and I have no clue where it's coming from.
Now, you was good a second ago, man. I think it might have been me talking through your intro that messed it up, man. I'm so excited to be on the show. I'm jumping in all early, man. You
Hey,
know.
man, this is like hopscotch.
Right, right.
Yeah. So, you guys, bear with me, please, as we try to fix some things. It's like I said, man. It's been a while, and it's
But you doing better than me, man. I ain't dropped the podcast in a little while, so
well, yeah, but man,
I
listen.
got I got listeners probably cussing me out, man.
Oh nah, listen, they ain't gonna cheat you. They ain't gonna do you like that, are
I don't know, bro. I
they?
don't know.
Oh man. Well,
The
look,
streets is
man.
watching, man.
See, I hear it. I hear it again, and there's got to be. Let me see. Hold on. Can you can you hear me now?
Yeah, that right there. That's it. You got it. It sounds dope.
But I couldn't hear you.
Oh, okay. You can't hear me now, or
I can hear you now. How about now?
yeah,
We're good.
you still good. Yeah.
No echo.
Nah,
Hey
now
man,
you good.
bruh.
There it is.
There it is. All right. Well, that's what it is. Hey, look, man. Wanted to get you on. Uh, you've been doing You've been doing a lot. Now you may not have been doing a podcast, but you got a lot happening.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
you got the podcast going on. Got a chance to check that trailer out for Unspoken, and you're in that, and you're in there with a lot of, can you say, I guess, big name people.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of
You know
crazy.
what I
Yeah.
mean? Like you are in there
Yeah.
with some cats, man. So
Right. Right.
let's talk about what you're doing outside of that. We'll go to that to Unspoken in a minute, but I definitely wanted to talk to you about the podcast that's
Hmm.
on Sirius FM. Hey, let me ask you, how do you spell Sirius XM?
See, there you go. There you go. Yeah. So for those, so we reference, I showed my age a little bit. You know what I mean? When I was trying to post about Sirius XM, I spelled it. It was a SER. Man,
I had to get you, man. I had to.
you got me. You got me. You got me. You got me. And I definitely wouldn't have edited it had you not hit me up by text. I definitely would have left it there. It would be up there right now like that. You know what I'm saying? But serious. I was serious about it though.
Sirius XM.
I was serious.
So let's talk about it, man. You're gonna be on Sirius XM. What
Yeah, yeah.
exactly? There it is again, man. What exactly is it, and how did it happen? How did that whole deal? How did that go down?
Oh yeah, man. It's fantastic, man. So for anybody who knows anything about the Christian hip hop community, Holy Culture Radio has been one of the mainstays of the community in terms of a platform where Christian artists can get their music out and be heard. Holy Culture Radio has been holding it down. I mean, they've been rocking with cats like Wado, DJ Wado, and you know our boy DJ I Ride Jesus.
Hmm.
Shout out
Oh,
to
shout
him
out to
from the
Iraq.
seven
Shout out to
five.
Iraq.
You know what I mean? 7-5, and so they've been a mainstay in the community, man. And they have I guess they've done radio. They had their own app, but then as of last week, man, they launched a Sirius XM channel, man. Channel 154. So Holy Culture Radio has a channel now. I Ride Jesus got a show on there. Wado got a show on there. And I was blessed to have the opportunity, man, to be a part. of a podcast. The King Talks radio show, which is airing every Sunday from 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time to 7. Shout out to my brothers, Reverend Aaron Carr and True Pettigrew, brother Al, who's our producer, and shout out to Chris Broussard, who's the leader of the King Movement, which is the organization that's, I guess you can say, funding and initially launched the King Talks podcast. So this is actually my second go around, man. I was the host of the King Talks podcast like 3 or 4 years ago, and had to put it down for a little while and pursue some other things, and then Chris Broussard approached me, man. It was like, hey, we're launching it again. It's going to be on Sirius XM, and we would love to have you back. So I'm like, I was all in, man. So I'm back, man. Back at it.
Back like you never left.
Back like I never left. Yeah.
And so it airs on what day? You said Sundays?
Yeah, Sundays from 6 to 7. And we're just talking about real things, man. I mean, the reality is, I'm gonna keep it funky. You know what I'm saying? Because you from the crib. When you look at what's going on in the media now, bro, just regular black men don't really have a voice. You know what I'm saying? Like, in order to be on, like, to have like a voice in the media, it's like you got just keep it real. Like, you have a lot. The LGBT is represented strong.
Right.
Very liberal voices are represented very strong, or ultra conservative voices, and we're kind of like in that middle ground where I think many men are. And we're just trying to speak to some real issues, man, and deal with things both in the church and also in society to give a different perspective, and just, I think, speak to where our community is and where we're trying to go, man.
Yeah, and I think that's good. And you said it's you. Well, let me ask you this: Holy Culture Radio. I remember,
Hmm.
from back in the day. Is it the same? Is it ran by somebody different, or is it kind of ran by the same people? And then how was the when they approached you for it? How did that work out?
So I'm not exactly sure who the original leadership was. I'm saying I didn't really follow them like that. I know that I believe that the people who are leading it now have been there for quite some time. So I don't think there's been like any major turnover at the top. And so actually, what happened was they approached Chris Broussard, and quite frankly, I don't even know how that happened, to be honest with you. But they approached Chris Broussard, who's the leader of the King Movement, which I'm also a part of, and then he was the one that came to me. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of got in through the back door, so to speak. But it's partly because of what I've been doing with the True ID podcast. I mean, I've had this public platform for a while, so they know what I do. And the fact of the matter is, while it's not like the True ID podcast where it's just all apologetics, like this is more so cultural stuff. At the same time, like part of my role is to deal with that aspect of what's going on in the culture, because you have a lot of misinformation out there. And so they brought me in to kind of, deal with that. So that's kind of like the role that I play.
So what exactly is the you mentioned? I've heard you mention it a couple of times. What is the King Movement?
Yeah. So the King Movement it's a national organization, again, founded by, Chris Broussard, sports analyst from Fox Sports. And essentially what it is, it's a men's organization. It's Christian men coming together to build one another up. I'm saying we got chapters in various different cities from New York, Jersey, Raleigh, VA, DC, out in the West. I'm saying we have chapters all over the place. And pretty much what we have is like it's brothers who come together. We have some of them, some of our chapters run mentor programs in local schools. Some of them will, have like kind of a big brother program where they're going out to the neighborhoods and being mentors in that sense. It's combined with getting together and studying the Bible and becoming just better fathers, better husbands, I'm saying, better brothers and so forth, better citizens. The idea is that unfortunately, many men today, I think, are spiritually malnourished. You know what I mean? And so the King Movement exists to address that need. It stands for knowledge, inspiration, and nurturing through God. And ultimately, that's what we're trying to do, man. We want to essentially kind of address the excuse me, the spiritually malnourished men in society. You know what I mean? And hopefully make an impact. And not just sitting back, reading the Bible, talking about it, and going home, but like really being impactful in society, man. And so, community service is a huge part of what we do. Like I said, there's all different kind of programs that we're involved in. So I would definitely encourage people to check it out, man. Kingmovement.org for sure.
So it's kingmovement.org. And
Yes, sir. Yeah.
once again, you said ran by Chris Broussard. And
Yes,
and
sir.
I
Yeah.
and I guess even with that, you you hear you hear a lot about these organizations. You hear about things that they're doing in the community. Um, I guess my biggest thing, man, is when it comes to us as men, and not only as men, but even as Christians, like
Hmm.
we have a tendency to talk a lot about things that need to get done.
Right.
A lot of times we think that it's the church that needs to do it, and it's the church's responsibility. Um, but at the end of the day, I think it starts at home.
For
Um,
sure. Yeah.
and I guess it almost takes some like-minded individuals coming together in order to try to make a difference somehow, some way. Um,
Oh yeah, without question.
and
Without question.
so, shout outs to Chris Broussard and the organization, because you've been to. I guess they do like they do things across the country. They do some conferences as well, right?
Yeah, man. So we have the annual King Summit. Definitely give a shout out to my guy Rodney from what's the Bible say. I see him in the chat. Shout
Oh
out to
yeah,
him.
yeah.
Man.
Oh,
He's got a dope podcast as well. Shout out to him. But yeah, we have the annual summit, and we also have what's called the Huddle. Excuse me. But that's like a conference that we've done like on college campuses where young college brothers can come out and be strengthened in the faith and just really taught on a practical level. It's really phenomenal, man. Like he'll have athletes come through, guys who are currently or previously in the league, whether it be NFL, NBA, and talk to the young brothers, man, about making solid decisions financially with respect to how you handle your relationships and so on and so forth, and really speaking to the kind of things you're talking about. Like, I mean, not just talking about doing stuff, but being a man of action. Going back to, I think you said something about fatherhood. I mean, quite frankly, it may sound crazy, but I think one of the most revolutionary things that you can do today is be a committed father. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people feel like in order to impact the world, they gotta, get out and, start a school or something like that. But if you have a young son or daughter, one of the most revolutionary things that you can do today is be committed to the home. You know what I'm saying? And raise children who will go out and represent truth and righteousness and so on and so forth. And so I think, when we're dealing with men, first of all, we do want to be men of action, but that doesn't necessarily have to mean like, I got to go out and, to, Africa and start an orphanage somewhere, man. Like start where you at. You know what I mean? And sometimes we overlook the opportunities that are right in front of us. And I think the King movement is about training people to be active on all those different levels.
and so how long has the King movement been around? Do you know?
I want to say about I want to say 7 years. I want to say about 7 years.
Mm,
No, actually, it's probably got to be more than that because I think I started the True ID podcast about 6 years ago. So maybe about 8 years.
got it.
Maybe about 8 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, and once again, shout outs to Chris Broussard for because with him being a part of the media,
Hmm.
and a lot of times the media gets a lot of blame.
Yeah.
And so for him to be a part of the media and to be willing to, uh, you know, try to change the narrative,
Right.
and
Right.
really work towards changing the narrative, giving some alternative views and different options and opinions, I think is good. So I applaud him because a lot of times
Yeah.
uh, when you're a part of the media, there's only so much that you can do or say, or there's only so much that you will do or say.
Right. 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 Right.
And so I applaud him for what he's doing, and I just wonder what kind of pushback has he received, if any.
Well, it's funny because sometimes we joke on it because here's the thing, like Chris, like, hey, he don't change up, man. Like how he is in person is how he is on TV. I don't know, like, I mean, when people watch him, I mean, he's taking some real like strong stances like on moral issues publicly. You know what I'm saying, on the show and things like that. Like, I'd be joking, I'm like, man, you gonna get yourself fired out here, bro. You gotta chill out. You know what I'm saying? But that's how he is, man. Like he don't change up, man. And I think when you think about it, here's the thing: like a lot of people in the media, or whether it be actors or musicians, whatever they may be, artists or whatever, they'll talk a good game about, oh yeah, I'm about the people, I'm about the community, da da da
Mhm.
da. Chris Broussard started a national organization that has chapters in several different cities that are right now, as we speak, doing things in the community, mentorship programs,
Mhm.
neighborhood cleanups. You know what I mean? Like, all that kind of stuff. Like they're actually doing it. You know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, this is the other side of the media, is that the media tends to not highlight stuff like that. I'm saying if we was in perfect example, we was in Raleigh, not Raleigh, South Carolina. We was in there, about 2 months ago, for
Mhm.
the summit, right? Now, if it was brothers out there, if there had been like some sort of mass shooting or something, or
Oh,
30 killings in South Carolina or gang violence, I'm saying that would have been all over the news.
yeah.
We had a 100+ guys, over 100 guys in one location from all over the United States coming together to talk about how they can take their faith and be men of action to change their communities.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's not gonna make the nightly news. You know
Nah.
what I'm saying? Nationally speaking, you know what I mean? But every 5 seconds we got to hear about Chicago. I know people right now. I know a guy personally right now who's a preacher in Chicago who goes out to the street corners, him and several others, every Saturday. I can't remember if it's Friday or Saturday, but basically every weekend, praying for people, talking to people, trying to bring about peace, things like that. We don't see those kind of things, and so I think that in a sense, while in a sense I'm part of the media because I have a public platform. I'm saying as you like media, I think has changed a great deal, but in a sense I think that people have to kind of reclaim the narrative. I'm saying like it can't just be negative all the time. We got to show people something else.
And I think and it kind of takes me to a different direction. It's almost the same with music.
Right.
There's got to be a balance somewhere.
Got to.
Have you got all of the twerk records?
Oh man,
Because
yeah,
think, man, it's so once again we're gonna tell our age, but
yeah.
back, I hate when I say, well, I hate saying back in the day.
Hey, just embrace it, bro. Just own it, man. You just
Oh
gotta just
man,
gotta own it, bro.
but
At some
back in the
point, you just
day,
got to.
but back in the day when you had the NWAs, you
Hmm.
also had the X Clans.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
had you had the PRTs. You had cats that how it
Right.
balanced the whole hip hop game out and it balanced music out.
Hmm.
But I think we're in an age right now to where there's no balance. There's no balance in the media and there's no balance in music. And I guess you'd be almost hand in hand.
Well, you raise a great point. I mean, you're right. We're showing our age because I was definitely had me some X Clan at the crib. You know what I'm saying? They were slightly before I became like a hip hop enthusiast, but I definitely know all about that. Tribe Called Quest comes to mind. Rakim, guys like that. KRS One, of course. So here's the question we have to ask, right? Well, actually, I think it's two questions, right? So, as the vast majority of hip hop sales, as far as purchases. Now, I don't know how streaming works. Maybe it's a little bit different, but I think if I understand correctly, the vast amount of sales are Caucasians purchasing hip hop, right? That at least that has historically been the case, right?
Yeah.
Now we have to ask ourselves two questions. What is it about portraying black men as thugs, killers, drug dealers, that the negative imagery, right? And portraying black women as sex objects and basically tools for personal satisfaction. What is it about those images that is appealing to the white community? Secondly, we have to ask, what is it about those images that's appealing to our community? You know what I'm saying why are we why is that cool to us? You know what I'm saying to have the most unfortunate aspect of our community portrayed as desirable or even the most prominent aspect of our community when that's not in fact the case. I think there's probably different answers for both sides of that coin. But I feel like those are two questions that you have to really ask yourself. Like, dang, like when you think about it, it's really not cool to shoot somebody. You know what I mean? Like, like that's really not cool. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
that's
Right.
not something to be, hyped up. Like, why? Like, why are we like that? You know what I mean?
And that's a great question. Uh, when you look at the biggest sales and records,
Hmm.
and you look at the largest sales when it comes to movies. Um, and then well, is it just our culture? So think about it.
Okay.
You had the Scarfaces,
Right.
you
Of
had the
course. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Goodfellas,
hmm
and even those type of movies don't depict African Americans, black folks, as. But
Nah.
that's a whole different culture,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
even those movies are highly regarded as classics.
Classics, right?
Um, People love them. So it's almost like, what is it about us in general that wants to learn about crime and see the crime,
Yeah,
and
so, man,
almost like you almost it's almost where you want to be a criminal, but you don't want to. So you want to live vicariously through it. Like you want to
right,
watch it and be a part of
right,
it, but
right.
you ain't trying to go to jail.
Of course not. At all. At all. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go a step further, right? Now, and we definitely go. They put our age out there. Like, so I grew up watching Looney Tunes, like the old school Looney Tunes. Granted, they were still reruns, but that was like stuff that was a part of my childhood, right? Now, when you see Wile E. Coyote, Road Runner is doing this thing. He runs across the chasm. Wile E. Coyote is coming about behind him, and he falls to the bottom of the chasm, or whatever. Like, boom. Now, in the Looney Tune world, in that cartoon world, we know he's not dead. So he might like squash flat or something like that. We know he's not dead. So because in that world it's not real, I'm saying it's easy to consume it as entertainment. I'm saying, but what if you was watching it and Wile E. Coyote like straight died? Like what if he like really like they pan to the next scene
Right, right.
and he's like just straight dead? Like that's a whole different story. But because it's not real, then we can enjoy it as entertainment. Now, I think with most people, when it comes to hip hop, when it comes to hearing about selling drugs to your mom and killing this person, killing that person, it's not real to them. It's not real because at least in communities where crime isn't as prevalent, if you will, what I'm saying, it's not real, so you can stomach it because it's not something that's on your day to day. But somebody like myself, like for me, I didn't really come from that.
Right.
But as a social worker, I have people on my caseload right now who are still dealing with the effects and trying to recover from cocaine, from heroin, from these different drugs that I heard rappers back in the day talking about peddling it. I'm selling this much rock, da da da. Like now I know the people personally who were buying that rock from you and have lost their wives over it and their daughters. They can't go to their son's home because their son don't want to around because they didn't burn so many bridges. Like I know people like that. So it's real. And so quite frankly, I feel like experiences like that. Now when I listen to certain things, I'm like, dang, I mean, I can appreciate, music that's skillfully done, but it's not so distant, I'm saying, from my experience where I can just consume it as entertainment. You see what I'm saying?
And I think that's for you, and for a lot of people, when you see the when you see the reality of it, the impact and the effects that it has on people, on families, um, then it changes. You look at it differently. Like
Right.
they say it
Right.
hits differently now. It
It's
definitely hits
different.
differently now when you see what this dude that's rapping. Would you say, for instance, Pusha T came out with a new project. So
hmm hmm
we already know,
I mean,
Push.
it's in the name, Pusha T.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah. Right.
we already know how he gets
Pusha.
down.
Yeah.
So when you hear his record and his records, and then in turn you see it firsthand, then it's different.
It's different, bro.
It's almost one
It's
of those
different.
things to where drunk driving, drugs, and all that stuff doesn't impact you until
hmm
it's your brother, or
Right.
crime, or like gun crime, and those things don't impact you
Right.
until it happens to you.
Then it's a whole different story.
Then everything changes.
A whole
And
different story. Right.
it's unfortunate. You know what I mean? But it's yeah, man. I don't know. But it's That's something, man. I think that, and now with YouTube and
Oh
videos,
man, yeah,
it
yeah, yeah,
takes it to a
yeah.
whole. Because now think about it this way.
Hmm.
See, we come from a different era, and so with us, we're sensitive to stuff like that. A lot of us,
Yeah,
I won't say everyone,
yeah, a
but
lot. Yeah, yeah,
but now these new cats that are coming up, they're desensitized because where we would see, we'll go back to Looney Tunes, we see Wile E. Coyote,
right, right,
uh,
right.
but we would never see him really die.
Yeah,
Now
yeah,
you've got these videos. These kids have videos on their phones. They're watching death all day. They're recording it. They're watching
yeah,
kids get beat up in school and stomped out and all of this stuff. And
yeah.
so now when they become adults, well, not even
Mm.
adults, as they grow older and become teenagers, committing certain crimes which we call heinous and whatever, it's nothing to them
No,
because
no.
at this point they have become desensitized because they've seen it, they watched it that so you think about it, you have some of these videos that are on
Yeah,
YouTube or whatever, and they'll go up to a million views in less than 15 minutes. Well,
easy. Yeah, easily.
and it's not because you have a million people watching. A lot of it's because you have the same person watching it over and over and over
Right. The replays.
again.
Right. Right.
And
Exactly right.
so now for that person, that young person that has sat there and watched that video 150, 200, 300 times. So when it happens to their neighbor next door, it's nothing to them.
And I'm telling you why that's so real, bro. So check this out, right? I'm a social worker by trade. Okay. And going back to even when I was in school, everybody knows that secondary trauma is a real thing. You know what I'm saying? I could be working with a case. Let's say I'm working with I've worked with a lot of youth over the years, professionally doing therapy and so forth. And unfortunately, many of them have been, sexually molested or anything or something like that. If you're constantly dealing with stuff like that, dealing with people who have been abused and hearing the stories and reading in the file, this happened, that happened, like you can definitely have what's called secondary trauma, where you yourself may not have experienced it. Nevertheless, it impacts you in a traumatic way. Like that's nothing new. Like everybody knows that's a real thing. So I said that to say, I think what we have going on now, bro, is social media trauma. Like we have secondary trauma peddled to us through social media, through the YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, so on and so forth. To where, like you said, you can watch a video of somebody getting beat down in some school bathroom 50 times.
Right.
You know what I mean? 100 times, however much you want to
Yeah.
watch it.
Yeah.
However, and what's going to happen is, get this. Let's say if you watch it 4 or 5 times, what's going to happen is the algorithm behind YouTube, Facebook, whatever, is going to send you more of what you're consuming. So now you think the whole internet consists of this kind of stuff
Yeah.
when really it's just that they have now spoon fed you just this diet of trauma.
Mm.
And so I think we have a generation coming up now. And I think it's kind of scary, to be honest with you, when you think about it. But we have a generation, I think, that's coming up now that has been fed social media trauma. You know what I mean? And I think that there's going to be consequences for that because, like you said, you become desensitized. You know what I'm saying? The pain of somebody else. Like you don't have empathy for the pain of others like you might otherwise would. Things like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's wild, man. That's wild. But once again, shout outs to the King movement, man, because
Yeah, yeah,
uh, you know, and I'm just saying them because you hear about them, and I'm sure there's some other organizations out here that are trying to do something within the communities. But
absolutely,
shout
absolutely.
outs to them, and I'll be honest with you, man. I appreciate Christian organizations that get out in the community and do things.
Of
uh,
course.
because I
Yeah,
think for so
yeah,
long, it wasn't necessarily us Christians that were engaged in our communities outside of maybe a tent revival every now and again.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Right, that's right.
we might do a cookout or feed the homeless every now and again. Um, but to the point of the cats that live in the neighborhood go to the church. You know, the cat
Right.
that, you know, the church
Right.
is in the hood, and these cats that live right across the street, they attend the church.
That's right. Yeah.
You know,
Hmm.
but that's for a different day. Your man, but what does the Bible say? As he said, how much of it is parents not paying attention to what their kids are watching and listening to,
Mm.
which is it's
Hmm.
good, man. But I'm gonna be honest with you. Once your kids get of a certain age, or outside of that, once they leave your doors, it's hard to monitor and it's hard to keep that
Yeah.
away from them.
Yeah.
Because once they get to school, get on the bus, even if your kids don't have cell phones or mobile devices,
Right. 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 Yeah.
their friends do, and
Yeah.
their friends do. And so with that, it's one of those things, man. It's hard to do. It's
That's a hard hill to climb, man. I mean, both of us are parents. You know what I'm saying,
yeah,
and you know what that's like. I know what that's like. My kids are young. You
bro.
know what I'm saying.
I listen. I've got teenage. Well, you know, we got it all. We got teenagers. We got little kids.
Yeah.
You know,
Y'all got the whole Brady Bunch, the whole
man.
stair step.
Oh
Y'all got it
God,
all,
yeah.
man.
So
Yeah,
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 but you're right, man.
yeah.
It's
So I think that it's hard because here's the thing. Like when I was a kid, right? When my friend, I remember when my mom and dad got me my first Walkman. They had like a
mm,
radio feature. You know what I'm saying? They said, "All right, now you know what you're not supposed to be listening to." It was the Walkman. You know you're not supposed to be playing this. Dude. We trust you.
right.
And so I was that kid that would listen to Wu Tang Monday through Saturday and then throw Kurt Franklin on Sunday. Like that was me because I grew up in the church and I'll try to do both. But
Mm-hmm.
they couldn't monitor me all the time. And even if I wasn't listening to it at the crib, I mean, I could just pop in whatever I want when I was on my way to school or whatever. Like, so
Yeah,
for me, the headphones, you know what I'm saying, I was locked in. Now, like you said, you got the cell phones, man. And iPads and laptops. I mean, just access to media is crazy. Like if back in the day, if you wanted to see something, late at night, the Skinemax, you had to kind of sit there and try to look through the haze or whatever. You know what I mean? But now it's just you just click a couple buttons on the phone and you're there.
bro. I
So it's a hard
it's hard, man.
road to go, man. Parents, I mean, ultimately, I guess we got to be on our jobs. I mean, there's no doubt about that. But you got to be vigilant, I guess.
Yeah, it's tough. My wife, we just had this conversation the other day, and we were just talking about how, for instance, our kids, and then so we have the teenagers. So I have our oldest son is he's now 17. Our youngest is he just turned 3,
Hmm. Hmm.
and so um, the youngest girl is 19, and the oldest girl I think is like 23. And so when we look at that, and we look at so the 23, the 19, and the 17-year-old, what is it going to be like when the 3-year old and the 5-year
Mm.
old get to that age?
Yeah, man, it's
At,
crazy.
at this point, these kids have access to everything in
Everything
the world, in a sense. Um,
right at the fingertips.
it's right there. Perfect example. And I'm gonna be 125% real.
Okay, okay,
So
125.
back in the day, if you wanted to, we'll just say porn, you wanted to check out one of the little nasty magazines
Right.
or the videotapes,
Yeah,
you had to make sure the coast was clear.
you had to work for it, bro.
It was a lot of effort and energy that you had to
That's a
put into
lot
that.
of effort. Right.
Like you really, so it was one of them things like you really had to be determined
Yeah,
to
yeah. If you pulled it off, you had to be doing something.
you
Right,
know
right, right.
so and so that was then. Now
Mm-hmm.
you can access that right on your phone,
Right on the phone.
and
Yeah,
kids, we're talking about children, man, that have access
yeah.
to it, and then we're wondering why kids at a certain age are acting out and doing certain things that you know
Right,
technically grown folks should be doing. Matter of fact, technically some stuff even grown folks shouldn't be doing.
right,
You know what I'm
right,
saying?
right,
And we
right.
wonder why
Nah,
these
nah. You're right.
kids are doing
Yeah,
it. It's
Yeah, yeah.
because things are now so accessible.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, man. So
But see, I take it back to, and I don't mean to cut you off,
no,
but
you good. Go
here's
ahead.
the thing. This is why, and I'm promise I'm not trying to be like cheesy plug with this, but this is why the King movement is so important. You know what I'm saying this is why, because we cannot afford to be asleep at the wheel as fathers right now. You know what I'm saying we can't afford it, right? I'm gonna just keep it 100 with you. Like I love everybody, I really do. You know what I'm saying, but God is sovereignly and in His wisdom planted me within the African American community, and I believe that all of us ought to bloom where we're planted, whatever color you are, whatever ethnicity, whatever. And so I think we work from there and you try to influence who you can. So my most immediate influence are those in the African American community. That's just by where I'm socially located, right? With that being said, the reality is like the black community is not gonna make it. I'm saying if fathers aren't on their job, it's not we're not gonna make it. You know what I'm saying? Like media, society is constantly working against the family. It's constantly working against us being productive on an from an economic standpoint, like self-reliant. You know what I'm saying? Like it's constantly working against those things. If black men aren't taking their place in the community, then I mean, what hope do we have, bro? You know, and I would say this too: it's not just all about black men. We need black mothers. You know what I'm saying? Black sisters, black daughters. Like we need to be raising them up as well in a way that that really is necessary for any community to be healthy and to flourish. You know what I mean? And we can't be. I mean, I ain't trying to get you in trouble, man. But we can't survive off red table talk. I think that's your girl's show,
Jada. Yeah.
Jada. You know what I'm saying? We can't have like the red table can't be like where our thought leaders derive from. Like that can't be the case
Right.
because we just not gonna make it, bro. We're not gonna make
Nah, nah, nah. That ain't gonna help me. I'm just gonna be honest with you. Look where it got. Look
it.
where it got Will.
Hey, keep Will's name out your.
Oh man. Well, look, man.
Oh yeah.
Let's switch gears, bro. Let's talk.
Yeah.
Let's talk unspoken. Um,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah.
and unfortunately, we having some tech issues. Maybe the next show I'll be able to get it. Unspoken is a documentary that's coming out, and you're actually featured in it. You and
Yeah.
a gang of other people that are,
Yes, sir.
we're talking about thought leaders. We're talking about influencers.
Yeah.
We're talking about some really powerful individuals when it comes to the whole urban apologetics movement.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just yeah, I don't even know what to call it. Black
Oh yeah.
pride, but you know,
We got the Avengers out, bro. The
yes,
whole squad is out.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but also when it comes to Christianity, and I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
The unspoken film, I actually got a chance to watch the first part. Shout out to Don. Um,
Yes, sir.
it looks into the first part talks about Christianity in Africa,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I guess how it how it's perceived and how it just that whole situation. Um, but I think the good thing about it is it's asking those questions that I think for a lot of us never received answers to.
Mm.
And not only that, not only did we not receive the answers, especially to the ones that we went to, um, but then it also gives some information when it goes to trying to reach those that look like us.
Yeah.
Um, and we're trying to, in a sense, bring them, win them, however you want to call it, to the faith.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, so how did it I don't want to get into how did you end up getting in the document. That's what
Okay. I mean, okay, it's up to you, but
yeah,
hey,
yeah.
yeah, go for
But
it.
with that being said, one, how important do you feel um, it is for this particular documentary, and then even how important do you think that? How important do you think? Because we had this conversation. I've had it with some black folks.
Right.
How important
Mm-hmm.
do you think the color of Jesus really is? And doesn't matter.
Got you. Got you. So here's the thing. There's a couple of different answers I can give to that. But I think that first and foremost, as Christians, like no matter what color you are, I believe that we should be people of truth, right? Jesus said that the greatest commandment is to love God with your heart, mind, soul, and strength. And the second is like it to love your brother as you love yourself. Love your neighbor as you love yourself, right? Now, here's the thing. In terms of loving God with your mind, how can you love God with your mind and yet be entertaining deception, right? We ought to be people of truth. We ought to be constantly pursuing truth. Now, I said that to say there are some historical realities about Jesus in terms of in his physical form. Like he was not a lily white, Scandinavian looking dude, who was frail walking through the desert. That's not the case. He was a melanated man. We know, I mean, nobody really can know like what shade per se. You know what I'm saying? But he certainly was a melanated man in the Middle East, right? So I think that if we're being people of truth, then we need to like, that's something that's true, right? And we ought not to depict Jesus in ways that don't reflect who he really was, right? Now, when you do that, then unfortunately, on top of a history of centuries now of racism, particularly here in the Western world, when you take Jesus and recast him as this, Tom Cruise looking dude, then what happens is you're doing damage. Like you're furthering the lie that Jesus was one way, and then using him as like kind of like a battering ram to beat down people of other colors. That's what's been happening. Saying white Jesus is problematic. It's just the truth. You know what I'm saying? It's like social warfare in a sense. You know what I'm saying? So what we need to do is recognize that as believers, just whatever color you are, first of all, we ought to be attending to the truth. Second of all, if we're really trying to win people to Christ, if that's like the number one goal of the church, make disciples. That's what we're supposed to be doing, right? If you find that something that you're doing is not conducive to that objective, then at very least you have to examine and say, well, dag, maybe I should stop doing that. If it's really the case that white Jesus is a stumbling block to somebody giving a fair hearing to the gospel, maybe I need to take that down in the church. You know what I'm saying? If for some reason, if there was a depiction of black Jesus, you know what I'm saying? Like the picture is not necessary. You know what I mean? Like we that's not a necessity. You know what I'm saying? Anything that's unnecessary, that's blocking somebody from receiving the gospel, we ought to have enough compassion for those who need the gospel, which we all do, to say, hey, I need to chill with that. That's not cool. But unfortunately, we have people who aren't really sensitive to that need. Right now, there are people who are turning away from Christ because they believe that Christianity is the white man's religion. That's a problem. And we need to solve that with the truth. That's what Unspoken is all about. We're bringing the truth to these theories and myths and all this kind of stuff about so-called white Jesus and the white man's religion. We're bringing the truth to that and setting the record straight such that somebody can at least kind of weed those misconceptions out of the way and clearly give a fair hearing to the gospel. I'm saying, and be able to hopefully make a right decision about it. That's what this is about, man. It's immensely important. It's immensely important.
Yeah, and I feel the same way too, man. I
Yeah.
know plenty of young men, old men, younger men that look like me,
Mm-hmm.
that because of what quote unquote Jesus looks like,
Mm-hmm.
what they've heard and been told about it being the white man's religion, have completely turned away from
Right.
it. And I feel the same way. I feel as though truth is truth, and um, that's it needs to be put out there. Period. But
But and see, here's the thing. Like, what if imagine if that person heard that, you know what? First of all, Jesus is the most influential melanated man to come across in the last 2,000 years, 2,000 plus years. Melanated, for sure. Secondly, the Apostle Paul, for example, before the gospel of Jesus ever reached Europe, like Western Europe, before Paul went on his first missionary journey, there's a man by the name of Simon the Niger. I'm saying who was essentially Paul's elder in the faith and was a part of a group of other prophets who commissioned Paul to go out, like a black man. Simon, the word Niger means black. So essentially, he's Simon the Black. He was a black dude, right? There's no No way around it, right? He lays hands on Paul, along with others, to commission Paul to go do what he does. That's how you have Paul going out on his missionary mission. We have black people in the Bible all throughout. You know what I'm saying? It's never been a white man's religion. Africans have been there. Look at Acts chapter 2. Africans been in the church from the jump. From the jump. And so I think that what's happening is when you have, I say it all the time, and maybe some people take it a little harsh, but I think it's true. I think most people are poor historians and even worse philosophers. You know what I'm saying? It's like that we really need a history lesson on the multi-ethnic heritage of the church. And fortunately, and that's why we call it, that's one of the reasons anyway, documentary is called Unspoken, is because there's this rich African heritage. It's independent of anything, going on in Christianity in Europe. There's a rich African heritage, that stretches all the way back to the first century and continues to this day on the continent of Africa. And it's not as a result of colonialism. It's not as a result of the white man brainwashing anybody or anything like that. It's a result of Africans freely choosing to commit themselves to the gospel. That's what people need to hear, bro.
And that's the piece they don't hear. That's
They
the
don't.
part that um, doesn't make it or whatever. Like that's the one that just kind of gets stepped over. For
Right.
those of you guys that are just tuning in, welcome to another edition, another episode of the Mind Your Business podcast. It's been a while. Tonight I got my brother on, uh, Adam Coleman. I want to call him Scott. Adam Coleman. He's
Right,
here.
right.
We're just talking. There's a lot. He's been a guest on here before. He has a lot going on. It's on a podcast that just got picked up on Sirius XM.
Mm.
He's in
Yes,
a
sir.
documentary that's coming out called Unspoken, and we're kind of talking about that, and as well as for those of you who didn't know, he also was a contributing author to the book Urban Apologetics,
Yeah.
and now we're waiting on. Uh, he's working on some other things as well.
Yes, sir.
Right now, we're talking about Unspoken and the importance or the unimportant and non-important, uh,
Yeah, I don't know. You got me
something
now.
like that. Whether is it important or not, the color of Jesus, his skin color, does
Mm.
it at the end
Mm.
of the day? Does that really matter? Uh, and if it doesn't, you know what? I'm just gonna leave it at that. Does it really matter? The documentary Unspoken kind of talks about that. Talks about the importance of it. And for you CHH heads, Sho Baraka is he's in it.
Yeah. Yep.
Jackie Hill Perry's in it.
Yep.
Um, I don't
Lecrae.
know.
We got Lecrae in there.
Cray is in there as well.
Yes,
You
sir.
didn't see him in the first part. So they all have something to say about it. And I think hearing from them helps a lot as well. It's interesting because I'm not going to sit there and say Lecrae was never there. I won't say that, but I think at the time, Show was and Lecrae wasn't, and so that kind of caused a little a rift in a sense. Uh, but it's interesting now to see where Lecrae is with his conversation and now the narrative and how it's changed.
Yeah.
And with
I
him,
mean,
and just to be honest, with him being one of the biggest voices in CHH,
of course. Of
and for
course. Yeah.
those of you that don't know the Christian hip hop community, I think it was very important to have him a part of the this documentary for sure. With
Yeah.
him
I
being once
agree.
again, one of the biggest voices of CHH and being an African American and black man that is a Christian, um, that goes to venues where there's non Christians. And I'm
Yeah.
sure that's a
Yeah.
lot of the conversations is, yo, bruh, how you a Christian? You're a black man. And, you know, it's because of Jesus.
So,
Go ahead. Yep.
here's the thing, right? I think, I can't speak for Lecrae, right? I don't know him personally. I know he's watched my show. I know that, like, he reposts some of my stuff, but I've never spoken with him personally. So this is just me I might be projecting my own feelings onto him. I don't know. But I'm gonna just say this. I think that many times is not the conversations about. I'll just put it this way: it may not be the conversations amongst Black people questioning you on that basis that really cuts deep. I think what is that plus it's when, if you're somebody who's like Lecrae, I mean, you're doing Acquire the Fire. You know what I'm saying? You're doing, like sunshine festivals, and you in that Hillsong space. You know what I'm saying, and I'm not saying he was like cooning or nothing like that at all. I'm just saying that he's in those spaces, right?
You
You know what I'm
ain't seen a
saying?
lot. You ain't seen a lot of black faces.
You're not seeing a lot of Black faces now. Cats is rocking with you on the music though. You rocking shows, and cats is, they buying the tickets, they buying the CDs. Well, I'm talking about CDs. That's old too. It's
Oh yeah,
streaming or whatever it is. I said CD. Well, no, actually, for the crate, that probably was true. He probably was selling
it was
CDs or
CDs
something
early. Yeah,
early, right? So you're making those kind of moves, and then when it comes to a young Black man, the Trayvon Martin situations, and the Michael Browns, and things like that is going on, and these same people that's consuming your music, they're not rocking with you when you start talking about justice. They don't want to hear you talk about what's going on in your community from a justice standpoint. So now it's an issue of, you don't really care about me, you care about my talent. You care about my ability to entertain you. You see what I'm saying? And when you have people like that who become vocal, and I mean, even to your face, you say have something to say along those lines that imply that's when it really starts to sting. You know what I'm saying? I think that's when it really starts to sting. I've had situations in my own circle, much smaller circle than the craze, but I've had, particularly, and I can think of instances in 2020 where it's like, you want to talk to me about this or that apologetics issue, but when I want to talk about uh, brother Ahmaud Arbery, you have a problem with me walking with Mod. You have a problem with that. You have a problem with me saying something about Breonna Taylor, or of course George Floyd. Like you're not as upset about it as I am, and you have a problem with me being upset. See, that's the kind of stuff that cuts deep. And I think that as a Christian community, I do, in my heart of hearts, I believe that we need to put the cross first. I believe we're all made in the image of God, and that's the foundation of our identity. We need to do a better job of living that out in the tough times. But if you're Lecrae and you encounter that, I mean, hey man, those are the kind of things that make you want to be like, all right, y'all, I'm out. You know what I'm saying? Like forget it. I'm done with y'all. You know what I'm saying?
and so in those type of instances, what do you do? Like what do you do? Like for we'll just say for Lecrae, for instance,
Yeah, yeah.
he is deep in the CHH community. At least at one time he
Deep.
was.
Sure,
Uh,
sure.
very very deep. That's where and to be honest, those acquired fires, those sunshine festivals, that's what it was feeding him.
Of course. Literally. Right.
Oh yeah. And so what do you do when you're in a space like that?
Mm.
And it's almost like there's an expectation for you to just we'll say for we'll say there's an expectation for you to shut up and dribble.
I was just about to say that. I'm glad you said it. That's literally what came to my mind. Right, right, right,
There's that
right,
expectation. What do you do?
right, right.
How do you handle that? And for those that don't know, you have a Christian hip hop artist who is deep within these festivals that are predominantly attended, ran, organized by white
Yeah,
people. White
sure.
people within the Christian community.
Hmm.
And these festivals sometimes tens and thousands of people, tens and
Hmm.
thousands of youth from all across the country come to these events.
Yeah, yeah,
But while you have tens and thousands of them, you may only have maybe 200, 300 that look like us.
yeah. Right. If
And
that. Yeah.
so, what do you do in a situation like that when the expectation is all I want you to do is get up here, do do Jesus music. You know, do
Mm-hmm.
some of those records.
Mm-hmm.
Don't take no time out of you ain't talking about if you're not preaching or speaking the word of the Lord, quote unquote.
Right.
I don't want to
Right.
hear. I don't want to hear anything about Breonna Taylor.
Not trying to hear it. Right.
You know, I don't. I don't want to hear anything about Ahmaud Arbery.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what do you do when you're kind of caught in between a rock and a hard place?
Man, so my answer, I don't have an easy answer for it. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And actually, my answer, I don't even know if I myself could walk it out. I'm gonna just put it out there like that. But I'm just saying, I think this is what the right answer would be. It's gonna sound corny, but I think it might be as simple as, first of all, this in Proverbs we talk to guard your heart with all diligence, for out of it flows the issues of life. So you have to keep your heart from being infected by the just the character of others. You know what I'm saying? I'll just put it that way. That's number one. You got to guard yourself in that way. That might mean distancing yourself socially from individuals or platforms or whatever that's against your well being in that regard.
Mm.
Now, aside from that, I think, man, it really comes down to you have to trust God, bro. You have to trust that God is he sees you. You know what I'm saying? And the truth is so valuable that if you're willing to go down with that ship to stand on the truth, that he's gonna carry you. That's not easy to do. That's extremely hard to do. You know what I'm saying? But I think that's probably the right thing to do. Is you just have to have that mentality like, hey, look, the truth is more valuable than your friendship, and you can't do anything for me that God is not willing to do. Like you don't control me. You don't own me. Just because you buy my music, just because you booking my shows, you don't own me. Like God's gonna he gonna bring, you know what I'm saying, that with Elijah where he brought the ravens with the meat or and things like that. He's gonna bring that manna in the wilderness. If I find myself in an economic wilderness because people who was booking me for shows no longer will, God's gonna provide the manna because I'm standing on the truth. I'm saying you're not fighting me, you're fighting the truth.
Mm.
Now, again, I'm not saying it's easy to do. That's got to be extremely hard to do. I'm saying that, like, because at the end of the day, you still got bills to pay. I mean, you still have children to feed and so on and so forth. So when the rubber meets the road, that's not easy. But I really believe, though, I really believe that God is faithful to you. You know what I'm saying, when you're in situations like that, because at the end of the day, you're standing for Him, man. And I think that you have to I mean, fortunately for Lecrae, I think he made space for himself in other places. You know what I'm saying? He's like, all right, cool. If y'all want me to Sunshine Fest, all right, cool. I'm gonna go over here to the Source Awards. I'm gonna go over here, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I think that he's from what outside looking in, it seems like he's done a good job of creating other spaces for himself. And I think you have to be able to adapt like that.
Yeah, yeah, he's definitely been able to survive. You know, he's done whatever he needs to do in a sense to not to compromise, but then also to survive at the same time. So shout outs to him,
Yeah,
man, and shout outs to him,
yeah,
shout outs
respect
to
to
the
him. Yeah,
team.
man.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So shout outs to him. But once again, the movie is called Unspoken. We're trying to put something together. A matter of fact, I'm even trying to see if we can get Don on next week. Uh,
Oh, dope. Yeah,
yeah,
excellent,
try to get him
excellent.
on the show. Talk about the documentary. Talk about what he wants to see happen from the documentary. Does he just want to, is this something where he just kind of wants to spark a conversation? Um,
Yeah, yeah.
but the
I think
question
to some
is,
extent, yeah, yeah.
the question is, how do you spark the conversation outside of our community?
Well, I mean, I think that I mean, as you know, like the conversation is to some extent, if you mean by our community as in the Christian community, the conversation is kind of already out there, man. I mean, in every barbershop across America, you got cats who debate these kind of things.
Mhm.
You have videos who that are documentaries that have come out before ours that touch on these kinds of things. I'm thinking about like the Hidden Colors documentary or whatever, which while it is filled with like pseudo scholarship, nevertheless, they're touching on the same kinds of
Wait, wait,
topics or
wait,
whatever.
wait, wait, wait.
Uh oh,
Su-
okay.
let's back up a moment.
Right, right, right.
What is pseudo scholarship for those that didn't graduate college?
Oh, yeah, man. So and I'm not trying to be like callous or disparaging, but pseudo scholarship, I'm referring to misinformation that somebody presents as being scholarly, right? And the reality is, when you look at the Hidden Colors documentary series, while I applaud, I'm never trying to knock anybody's hustle. I applaud how it's put together and all that kind of stuff, and the grind to get it out. You know what I mean? But nevertheless, you have people who are pushing information that's not well sourced. It cannot be verified with actual evidence. You know what I mean? It doesn't stand up to the historical record, or it's pieced together with really uncritical thinking. Like those things like that is like pseudo scholarship. So, for example, um, so funny enough, I don't know if I've ever said this publicly, but it's actually a guy by the name of Dr. Anthony Browder who was featured on one of the Hidden Killers joints that I think was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back that got me to doing urban apologetics. You know what I mean? It was a guy. He says, like, man, yeah. So if the letter J wasn't created until like 1500, how could there have been a Jesus? And like that's such a horrible argument. It's like, okay, well, so you're saying there was no Jerusalem, I guess, and there was no like anything with a letter J just didn't exist before 1500. I mean, that's silly,
Yeah,
bro.
that, yeah.
And it got me thinking. I was like, man, if that's the best thing they got, are we good? I'm going in. Like
So,
I'm straight.
so
You know what I'm saying?
question: he has a degree?
I think he has some degree. I mean, he's. I want to say I could be wrong. I feel like he refers to himself as a doctor, but if not, I believe he has some degree. I don't know what it is, but he's presented as somebody who's a scholar.
Yeah,
And I'm like, if somebody who presents himself as being a scholar and is put on the screen as being a scholar, and they're making terrible arguments like that, that's what I'm saying. That's pseudo scholarship. Now you're not getting that from the Unspoken documentary. I'm telling you straight up, Unspoken is filled with like legit scholars. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I'm talking about dudes that you wouldn't. They're not just walking around and just you're not gonna be able to access them ordinarily. These are people that they've really brought us some heavy hitters. You know what
I
I'm
will
saying?
say this. I'll say one thing.
Mhm.
So I was watching the first part. I didn't get through all of it.
Gotcha.
I did see a white guy in there,
Yeah, yeah, uh-huh.
and
Right, right,
and
right.
and his last name is what?
Will Height, David Will Height.
Oh, so it's Will Height.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I thought his last name was White. My fault. Okay.
yeah. Right, right. Well, we did joke on him. I did joke on him a little bit. Say he kind of looks like White Jesus. I said we might have to edit him out or something like that. I was no, I'm playing. I'm playing. I'm playing.
But yeah,
But
it was like I said, man. It's I saw the first part. Very informative. Very interesting. I mean, and a lot of information.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's like I said, we're trying to work something out.
Well, let me
Because
say this. He's a perfect example because David Wilhite. Now I'll just give a snippet of the kind of things that you'll see in the documentary. But David Wilhite, I think I have it. Well, I think it's in this bookcase behind me. He wrote a whole work on a gentleman named Tertullian, who was a North African theologian. I want to say it's from like the third century, right? Second or third century. Um, I mean, geez, man, like Tertullian, this North African theologian he was the one that the term Trinity that we talk about, obviously in Christianity, Father, Son, Holy Spirit,
Mhm.
like that term, he's credited with coining that term.
Right.
When you look in the Bible and see Old Testament and New Testament, Tertullian is the one who essentially is credited for coining those categories of how we term Scripture. So every time you open the Bible, you're using terms from this African theologian. Now, David Wilhite has written a whole work establishing well, I think to be a pretty plausible case that he was an indigenous African. Like he wasn't just like a white dude living in Africa or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like he was ethnically African. You know what I'm saying? David Wilhite has done a whole book on that. You know what I mean? So we're real fortunate to have him, in the documentary, just breaking stuff like that down, man.
Yeah, yeah. And he does kind of look like the White Jesus, though. That's for sure.
Yeah, right, right.
But yeah, man, but once again, it's a great documentary. From like I said, from what I saw, what I've seen, and I'll probably watch the second part this evening. Let me ask you
Excellent.
this,
Yeah,
man. What's you got the podcast on Sirius XM. You're in the documentary. Uh, you're part of contributing on the Urban Apologetics book. Um, what's next, man? What's next for you?
yeah, man. So to be honest with you, I really got to buckle down, and I got two books that I really got on the inside that I'm really trying to get out. And so for the next, I'll say 6 months or so, I probably will slow down in terms of YouTube material that I'm putting out and just lock in on getting that first book done, man. I think I've been talking about doing it for years. And at first, I think I was just kind of I felt like I needed to get some experience doing what it is that I do, really get a feel for what people's questions were and things like that before I sat down and dropped the book. But it's time for me to get my book done, man. So Black and Christian healing the identity conflict. That's in the works. That's in the works, man. So I got that coming down the pike. People kind of loosening up, with the with COVID, the pandemic, and all that kind of stuff. So I had some speaking engagements coming up, man. Getting back on the road. I just got all kinds of stuff going on. Oh, also next week there's a series, an apologetic series that's geared toward like teenagers, middle schoolers, things like that. I wrote some scripts for it. It's called the Dark Room Project. That actually releases, I believe, next Wednesday. Excuse me, next Thursday, I believe. So that's going to be coming out. I'll probably be posting the links and stuff like that on my website, YouTube page, and all that. So yeah, I got a lot of things coming down the pike, man. But definitely want to get this book done and really grind it out because there's a lot of questions. People have a lot of questions, and I think that the documentary is going to be powerful. I think it's going to be a game changer. I think it's going to be huge. But in addition to that, there's some things that I really need to put pen to pad, man, and get it done, bro.
So I'll tell you guys this right now. If you're trying to get Lane, I'm sorry. If you're trying to get Adam Coleman,
Right.
you better get him before he locks in for that 6 months. Because, as Fat Joe has said, yesterday's price is not today's price.
Right.
Once you finish with the book, I already know your
Yeah.
rates are gonna go, and understandably so. That's just how it works because when you put the time in, you put the energy and the effort in, you become an author, as well as all of the other things that you've done, man. It just, hey, it puts you on a different platform. And I will say this: I'm glad to know you.
Oh man, I appreciate that, bro. Real rap, man. I mean, you seen the whole evolution, man. You know what I'm saying? From Scott Lane, the
Yeah,
rapper, to
yeah,
whatever it is I am now, man. You seen the whole
yeah.
thing,
And
man.
and you and you're doing it, man. And once again, congratulations to you. If for any reason people want to get in touch with you, if they want more information on the King movement, if they want
Yeah.
more information, even on the documentary Unspoken, how can they get with you?
Oh yeah, for sure, man. So the easiest way is probably through email. True ID, the number seven at Gmail. So that's TRUID, the number seven at Gmail. Uh, whether it be for booking, whether it be for information, or if you just have a question that's troubling you. You know what I'm saying? I can't say I'm always the best and most timely at getting back to emails, but I try my best, But if something's been bothering you in terms of question you have, shaking your faith or whatever, I love to help with stuff like that as well. So but yeah, whether it be booking or whatever, the easiest way is that True ID, TRUID number seven at Gmail. But always you can hit me up on Facebook. Facebook, Adam Coleman. Instagram is True ID underscore apologetics. Scott Lane 7 on Twitter. So you can hit me up in any of those things, man. And I'd love to hear from people, man.
Yes, sir, man. And once again, man, I appreciate you taking time, hanging out with us. You've got a lot going on. You decided to.
Oh, forgive me, brother. I'm sorry,
Oh yeah,
man.
yeah.
I do need to plug. I got to plug this book. I'm gonna get punched in the face if I don't do this.
Oh
So also,
yes.
I have a new book that I've contributed to. It's called Street Level Apologetics. Man, I've contributed chapters to this as well, written by my guy Vocab Malone and myself, along with MJ Jackson and D New. We all collaborated on this work right here. This is actually hot off the presses, man. Just dropped a couple weeks ago. So I'm gonna get punched in the face if I don't if I don't mention this right here,
You
man.
don't
People
want
need to
that,
get it
man.
though.
Yeah, that.
People need to get it, man. It's fire, bro. It's
So
fire.
once again, yesterday's price is
Right,
not today's price. These rates are
right.
just they going up daily, daily. They're going. Nah, just put. That once again, man. That's just a testament to the work that you're putting in.
Thank you, man.
And I truly appreciate it. Seeing the growth, seeing everything just kind of take place, man. And uh, and it's needed. It's definitely needed in our community. The
Right, right,
information
right,
that
right.
you share is you can't put a price tag on that. I mean, that's some information that can change people's lives. And once again, man, I applaud you for it, man. So,
Hey, man, I
um,
appreciate that, my brother, man. I really do, man.
yeah,
Real
no
rap,
problem. So,
real rap.
on another note, who you got coming out of the East, the NBA, and who you got coming out the West?
Oh man, see, I'm looking crazy right now because I was really hanging my hat on the Nets, bro.
Yeah, but
I was all in on the Nets, man,
you don't wear
and I
hats. You don't wear hats too often, do you?
I don't.
Yeah.
So I did not predict. I don't know if anybody predicted that KD and Kyrie would like just whatever they did that they would just do that. I don't know if anybody predicted that, but nevertheless they out. So I'm gonna say out of the East, I don't believe in the Sixers right now because I think that you can't trust James Harden at this point. I like James Harden, can't trust him. Um, the Bulls, yeah, they about to take that L tonight. I'm gonna say I'm gonna ride with the Celtics. I'm gonna ride with the Celtics, and the reason why is that if Chris Middleton with the Bucks is still hurt, if he doesn't come back, I think that I don't know if Giannis can pull it off like one superstar against two between Jalen Brown or two stars Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum. So I'm gonna go with the Celtics coming out of the East, and then I'm gonna say out of the West. I don't know what's going on with what's his name? Yeah, Devin Booker.
Yeah.
I don't know what's up with that injury. Um, but I'm gonna say if Devin Booker comes back, I'm all in on Phoenix. You know what I'm saying? If not, man, I don't know, man. Them boys, believe it or not, Dallas is looking kind of scary for anybody right now. You know what I'm saying I don't know if cats really want to see Luka Doncic right now in the West. You know what I'm saying if Devin Booker doesn't come back healthy, I'm wondering if Dallas can really give this a good run. That's where I'm at. Right.
So it's either Phoenix or Dallas is who you ride with.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I mean, like Phoenix, I don't think. I mean, they just beat the Pelicans last night without Devin Booker.
Right, but
See what I'm saying? So,
we're talking about the Pelicans without Zion.
I mean, you tempted me to make a Zion joke. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm tempted to do it, but I'm not going to do it. I like Brandon Ingram. You know what I'm saying? I like Brandon Ingram. I think Zion. I don't believe in him, dog. You know what I'm saying I think he's a great talent. I don't know if he's a great competitor. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm wondering about him. Like he doesn't have like that operation patience or like trust the process mentality where like I'm injured, I'm gonna get healthy, I'm gonna lose weight.
Oh
You
yeah.
know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna get back in. He's not there. So if Brandon Ingram don't take him there and CJ McCollum, then it's not gonna happen. You know what I mean? So I think Phoenix gets them. I just don't see anybody in the West beating Phoenix,
So
man. I really don't.
you don't see Golden State beating them. You don't see Memphis
Oh,
beating them.
yeah, I take that back. Oh
No,
man, yeah, you're
you
right.
left a lot of cats out, man.
Oh
That's
man, yeah. All right,
disrespectful.
so here's the thing. You know what? You're right. I'm sorry. I'm gonna retract that. I would go Golden State over Dallas because they've been there before. You know what I'm saying? They know what it is, and their core guys they know each other and have been in this predicament 100 times. So actually, I'm gonna take that back. Yeah, I don't know how I forgot about Golden State. So I'm gonna ride with Golden State. Now I'm gonna say if Devin Booker comes back though, if he's healthy, I'm still going with Phoenix over Golden State. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why I say that is they have a big man in Aiton that can run the floor and I think be impactful offensively. I don't think the Golden State has a defensive stopper that's going to do anything with a healthy, productive DeAndre Ayton. You know what I'm saying? So for that reason, I'm going to go. And Chris Paul just does what he does. He just is who he is. Now, as far as so yeah, I'm going with Phoenix. If Devin Booker's healthy, I'm going with Phoenix. If Devin Booker's out, I'm going with Golden State. The reason why I like the Grizzlies, they're fun to watch. I just don't think that they have I think they just need more experience, man. They're very young. They're gritty. They like to run, and they look really good against a also young Minnesota team. You know what I'm saying? But when you're talking about, man, look, when you're talking about the conference finals, when you're talking about getting to the second round, and you're playing against a Golden State that knows what they're doing, you're not gonna get that turnover that keeps you in the game. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna get that. Steph Curry is not likely to throw like that terrible pass or whatever. Or you definitely not getting that out of Chris Paul.
Right.
He's gonna play 5 games without giving you one turnover. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
you're not gonna have those opportunities where you pick off a pass and John Morant gets some crazy dunk and now you got momentum. You're not gonna get that. So I just think that they need a little more season, man. I mean, Desmond Bain has stepped up a great deal this year. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, tremendous. But am I taking Bain and John Morant over Steph, Clay, and Draymond?
Nah.
Please,
Nah.
nah. So yeah, so that's why I got to go. I got to go healthy Phoenix over everybody. If they're not healthy, then I'm gonna ride with Golden State in the West. I'm staying pretty. I'm sticking with the Celtics though, man, in the East. I really feel like I just don't think you can win in today's game with one superstar. I think you have to have two studs, man. And if Middleton is not there, and you're relying on Drew Holiday, I don't think the Bucks can get it done. I like Miami, but I don't know. I just don't. They're a tough squad, but I think defensively the Celtics can be comparable to them, and they got Jason Tatum. You know what I'm saying I trust Jason Tatum offensively more than I do your boy Jimmy Butler. I'm saying Jimmy Butler, he can get buckets, but if somebody's got to get a bucket that's going to change the game, I'm gonna trust Jason Tatum.
Yes, sir. Yeah. I ride with you on that.
I said a lot, man. I was going to ask you what you thought, man. Or am I talking crazy? I don't know what you know.
Nah, man. I think you're there. I don't. I'll be honest with you. I don't know if I see anybody. The Celtics and the Bucks. It's one between those two, hands down.
Got to. Yeah.
And I would even say the Bucks, even without Middleton at this point, because
okay.
I just can't see nobody stopping Giannis. Like I can't see. I just can't see anybody stopping it.
I agree. Right.
So it's going. I think one of the two out of the West. I think you're spot on. It's either Phoenix or Golden State. Young teams, they're good teams, but I don't think they have what it takes to make it. It's you got to play smarter when you're as you move up. And,
Got to.
Now Luka, my son and I, we if you had to choose one or the other, would you take Ja? Would you take Luka? I already told him, give me Luka all day. I like Ja.
Yeah,
but give me Luka. Luka.
I mean, it's kind of it's hard to compete with 30 boards and like 10 rebounds and like 6 assists. Yeah. It's kind of hard to, you know what I'm saying? Like just
Luka can shoot the ball. He's making those passes. He will, man. Listen, that dude shot the ball the other night over. I can't even think who he. It was because they're playing. Who are they playing right now? Utah.
Yeah, Utah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He knocked that down over. What's the big Rudy Gobert?
Yeah.
He out on the three, dancing a little bit.
Rudy went up. Yeah.
Pulled. Right. I mean, just. So
So here's the thing, right? All buckets aren't the same, and this is why I keep trying to tell people like let's look at Trae Young, for example. Average 28 points a game, right? Now you get into playoffs, and here's the thing: if your offensive options are either a 3 over the top, or you're gonna do a floater in the lane, or you're gonna kick it out. Those are your 3 options if you're Trae Young at this point in terms of how he plays. Mm-hmm. Those are 3 like high risk options. You know what I'm saying? Like the 3 over the top is low percentage off the top. You're not gonna be given the lane all the time. So if you don't have like a mid range pop, and you have to get to the lane to get that floater, that's an unreliable bucket. I'm saying you can't count on that. Now, Luka, on the other hand, he's gonna go shoot over the top. He's gonna stop and pop. He's going to the rack. Yeah. He's gonna give you more. He's got an arsenal. You see what I'm saying? And that's what I do. I like John Morant. He's exciting to watch. I don't think there's an arsenal that's there yet. I think he's got a lot of athleticism. But if I can't put you anywhere on the floor and say, hey, go get me a bucket,
right,
then you know what I mean? Like it's not reliable. When defenses lock up, they take that lane away. I mean, that's how they. I mean, Giannis is an exception. I mean, for whatever reason, it doesn't matter what you do, he's gonna do what he do. But other than that, you gotta have some options. That's why Chris Paul is still effective. Chris Paul, if he need to get it going, you already know what he's going to do. He's going to get past you on that first step, get to that elbow, fade away, and he's going to hit you with it like 20 times in a row. You know what I'm saying?
Mid-range, man.
Love that mid-range.
Hey, but
these young cats, man, they got to get back to that. They got to get back to that mid-range game.
I'll tell you this though, that daggone dunk Ja hit the other night, last night.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, whoever was, I don't even know who he done on that. Whoever that was about lost his life. It was just, it was just like,
he killed that boy, man.
It was terrible.
That was terrible, man. So,
and matter of fact, it might have even been a charge. I think he might have even been set, but it's when it's that bad, they can't even give it to you. You know what I'm saying? Like they can't even give you the call because it was.
If they had called a charge in that arena last night, do you know there would have been a riot?
It'd been Malice at the Palace all over again. Right.
Ugly, man. It would have been ugly, but that daggone dunk.
Right. Yeah, man.
But look, brother, I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, man.
You know, once again, we're gonna try to get Dom. We're gonna try to, talk about this documentary, Unspoken, and I'll keep you in the loop, man. We're trying to work some things out, man. But
yes, sir, man. Let me know what's up, man.
Appreciate you. Hold tight.
Appreciate you, dog.
Hold on for me just a second.
Sure.
Once again, you guys, thank you guys for tuning in. This is the Mind Your Business podcast. We've been missing for a minute, but we coming back. So I appreciate you guys for hanging out with us. And you got to subscribe to the YouTube channel. That way, when we do pop up, you'll get notifications, and you can catch the show. So once again, shout out to my man Adam Coleman for hanging out with us this evening, and we'll do it again. I appreciate you guys. It's the Mind Your Business podcast. My name is JB Harrison, and I will see you guys a little later.